not impact. Past painful thoughts, in fact I blast tasteful thoughts and past. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're just freaked out, get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kure here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Deku and the girls. Now, in the last part, Deku and the girls, they were just getting settled down into Kirei village. And Deku, he had a bit of a worry. Well, all the girls, they are at the most in physical ready condition to fight. Kendo still did sustain some injuries. Recover Girl was able to get her at least to around 70 to 75%. However, there was still Kendo's problem with her wrist and her hand. Deku knew that this would be a problem if she were to go up against a Kirei at full power. And if it's supposed to be a one-on-one even match, there's a chance Kendo, she might be pushed to the point where she can no longer fight with that hand. And Deku, he wanted her to have every physical advantage she could. So after talking to his uncle, he was able to use some Kirei healing techniques. And Kendo, the next day after having these applied to her arm, even though it really hurt, there was the fact that there was no pain left in her wrist. And it seemed almost magical what happened. That's how it was. She just took the needles out, I think with Deku's help, and all of a sudden, a couple hours later, it just didn't feel like it hurt anymore. Yes, it was kind of numb, but the next day after she woke up, wow, it was crazy. Now, over the course of about 1 to 2 days, Deku would show them around the village. Well, not only were people being chosen, but people were also at least trying to talk and even compete with the idea of who will fight these people. If they're in league and or in the same category as the main branch Kireis, the people that are being challenged this time must be really important. Since there's not just one of them, there's 5 of them. And while this was something that was deemed insane, there actually was one for Deku. Yeah, he was just as surprised as the girls were. Whenever he saw the people who walked into the room where the girls were sitting down and waiting. Deku just leaning against the wall, as his bravado and or idea that the girls might actually win, it did waver heavily whenever Carla Kure walked into the room. Deku seeing his aunt as she got really excited. Her running over and actually looking at Kendo. Oh, wow. This one's pretty cute. So's that one. So's the other one. So's the black-haired one. Both of them look pretty good. Carla actually walking over to Deku, as she does is ask him if he's been working on his stamina, and if he does really think that these girls are going to be able to keep up with him. Hi, Aunt Carla. The girl's actually at least looking over and looking at the woman, as while she may be in her early 30s and or late 30s, they can't really tell. However, Carla Kure, that's the lady who sent the package. Them just thinking that thought, all in unison. This is that crazy chick Deku talked about. Carla actually turning and looking towards, well, let's just say Kirishima. Talking about how this one does seem to be well built. Her looking down and saying that especially if she looks this sturdy. And Kirishima, after at least turning back around, she's going to bring her hands up. Talking about how she can't just say something like that out loud. Oh, don't worry about it. Besides, chances are you're going to fail anyways. Her just being strict with, oh fuck. Now, As Ryan did walk into the room, he did inform Carla to calm the hell down. And Deku, after looking towards him, he did just get ready. Oh no, this can't be right. As after Ryan walks in, Yuya, his little sister. Then Saki, and then Inko, his mother. Now, after the Cure's walk in, you do actually have where Deku does see his father. The man walking in as Deku does look towards him, as he does at least have his hair slightly longer. Along with that, there is the fact that he started to grow a beard. And Deku, he does just stare at him for a minute, as it does look like he might be, well, to say the very least, starting to have his age catch up a little bit. While he does have a few more lines in his face, he does still keep his physical look. Basically a buff and toned wrestler, and or just martial artist. In Deku, while he does notice that, he does look back towards his close-knit family in the Kirei clan. As all the girls, this is not going to be something they're going to be able to handle very well. They're talking about and looking at the literal family of the guy they're being challenged for. And then there actually is whenever the guys, or not the guys, the girls, they actually do watch everybody line up together. Basically, someone stands across from one of the girls and get ready. As you do actually have the current way things are going to be going. Whenever Kendo is staying there, she does at least try to keep her hands somewhat steady. And Inko, she does walk up directly in front of this girl, looking at her and informing her that it's been a very long time since he's seen her. Hello, Miss Kure. You trained at the dojo. I'm curious to know what you learned. I want to know if you've improved. Now, Inko took this position because this one is one she does actually deem to be a bit more dangerous. Because she has a physical-based power. And while that is something that is admirable, the fact is, she is a strategic assassin. Being able to take out people who are stronger than you and bigger than you is something she's been doing her whole life. And there is this one thing. She doesn't deem it to be necessary to use the removal. Being able to outpace the fast and heavy fist are something that she can do, especially because she's a trained gymnast and has incredible speed, even without using the removal. That is the drawbacks that Kendo she does suffer from, and that's why this matchup is being paired off against each other. As we do then have where Deku's little sister, she does walk up directly in front of Mina. And Mina, for a minute, she does actually look at Inko, before looking down at the little girl in front of her, kinda confused. So, wait, I'm fighting a teenager? I'm 15. Almost 16. Okay, but hang on, so Deku looking right at Mina. As he does tell her that she used to be able to keep pace with him back in the day, before they even really started training seriously. Along with that, he does at least exclaim to her that in the last year she's taken on over 25 assassination assignments, each one all completed. And Mina, after at least giving a stone cold face look at Deku, she does try to get more serious. Her cheeky little grin that she does usually wear on her face somewhat did waver, as after Deku did say those words, it kinda did just all drop. Looking back at her and trying to think, okay, so she might have to actually use the loan. This is going to be something serious. However, spraying acid hurts. A bad idea, right? She could hurt her seriously. If you think holding back against me like that is something you're going to be able to do, I wouldn't recommend it. Weapons are permitted in these tests. I didn't choose to bring mine. I'd rather just beat you against a wall. Mina confused. Uh, my quirk is mind reading. I can predict your movements before you even know what they are. I am a master at tactics. In fact, it's because of that I've been able to succeed so well. So, you better take me seriously, otherwise you're in for a rude awakening, pink girl. Now, this is something that Mina, she does actually at least look towards everyone else. As you do have Momo. Momo, she has tried to stand there a bit more seriously. As she's staring at everyone else. There's this girl. There's Deku's cousin. She has basically an animal quirk. And then there's Ryan. That guy is supposed to be able to keep pace with Deku whenever he just uses the removal. If she's paired against him, she's outgunned. She's outmanned. She's outplayed. That guy has to be the leader for a reason. That's what she's thinking. Not only can he keep pace in a non-removal fight, she's seen this guy fight before. He makes it all just seem unstoppably hard. However, there's just the thing. Momo, she does think, if she's paired against him, it's because her quirk has the most versatility. It's because she can create anything, any object, any weapon. Weapons were permitted, that's what they just said. And that is where someone steps up. Carla, she steps in front of Momo. As whenever she does so, Carla just simply looks down, talking about how those are pretty big. Can you not? Momo just going to cover her chest. As Carla, she does at least try to start up a conversation, bring her hands up to her chest, and saying a few, well, things I don't really want to say. Now, it's all just dirty. That's literally just her characterization. Honestly, it's hilarious, it's funny, but I'd probably laugh saying them, so I'm not going to. Plus, that's not my style. I'm more the bloody fights guy. Anyways, now, there is Kirishima. She really, really is hoping for this. She's getting pumped up. And there is her poker face. It's not fitting her well. She thinks that because Ryan is physically the strongest, most possibly because he can just, well, go to 100% like Deku, there's where she's proven wrong. Saki steps up, and this is something that does confuse her for a second. However, she does try to keep in mind as to what Deku has said before. These people will have advantages that are their disadvantages. She is defense. This girl is offense, and both are close-range fighters. That's something that Kirishima has to keep in mind. She never even considered that before. Someone who will fight at close range. She thought she was going to get somebody who was long range. And that's where she's proven wrong. As Deku, he does see a matchup that he didn't think would happen. He thought that Kirishima, she could handle Ryan. However, yeah, that's just it. Ryan currently stands in front of Bakugo. And Bakugo, she does at least have her arms crossed as she is staring up at the man. He's just a little bit taller than her. The top of her head, where her hair's sticking up, it would make up the difference up to probably about Ryan's nose. However, that's just her hair, not her actual head. Her looking up at this man does inform her that he's going to be taking her a little bit more seriously than he would like to admit. Because he's actually curious to go against someone with explosions. You know about my quirk. Yes, we all do. We've all been informed. They've all been told about them. And, well, my sister, Ryan going to turn to Inko, saying that she doesn't believe that she'll have to use her quirk against that girl. So, just know, one of them is at least holding back, more than likely for now. And that's something that Deku, he does look towards. His mother? Really? Why? Now, with that being said, everybody, they're currently at least separated, being led by the Curies away to an area where, quite simply, it's the area they had the festival for the demon's funeral. People, they're going to be watching this from all over anywhere. While some are crowding the streets and basically flooding it, there are people watching it on television, where it's being viewed in bars, markets, and restaurants. Now, the girls were caught off guard. The area they were in, it's kinda not what they expected. They're along an entire city street. In both directions, there's buildings. And right in front of them, this area, it's literally just a, to put it in the best terms, arena. They don't even know how to classify it as an arena, really. It's basically just a large ring in the center of town. It's just that. There are stands set up to watch. And most likely, this is because the Kure's combat is a day-to-day occurrence. So, it's literally at the foundation of where they live. And this is something that does happen. The first matchup that we'll be seeing is Kendo versus Inko. Whenever Inko did just walk past and step into the ring, a lot of people were shouting for the Kure. And some of them were curious as to the challenger who will be facing off against the daughter of the demon. Now, this is something that a lot of people they've actually been curious about, as for the first time they are seeing the challenger, as it's a girl who looks to be about 20 years old. She does have a lot of definition on her arms, and she does seem to appear to be a little bit more muscular than most average women. They can tell that she clearly does keep to routines and work out a lot, along with even taking it seriously, especially because she's been trained by a Kirei, obviously. Now, a lot of people, however, if they do look a little bit more closely, they can exactly tell what she works on the most. And that would be her core strength, the way she's moving, and the way she does carry herself. It's almost a dead giveaway to them. And many people, they actually are already starting to take bets on what the quirk might be. And then there's actually, whenever the match, you do have the referee. Deku's father does come up, him going to bring his hand up and put a coin in his hand, informing both sides that once the coin hits the ground, they are to begin. Him tossing the coin up into the air. Now, the coin gets sent flying upwards, as it does start to spin. Everybody going up and up and up, and then the silent smash of the ground, as Inko, she directly rushed straight towards Kendo. And Kendo, she actually did go to dodge almost instantly. The moment she did hear it, she looked up towards Inko. And by that time, the woman, she already crossed about 10 feet across the ring and went to throw a punch. Kendo being able to dodge, as she actually is going to try and throw up her right knee. The moment she does throw it upwards, you do actually have for Inko, she does just sit there for a second still. And everyone there watching. As Inko, with her left hand, she brought it upwards to counter almost immediately. She knew a high kick would be the best way to try to take her out. The moment this does happen, Kendo, she does immediately stop her knee as it's caught. Inko going to bring her hand up and try and smash it downwards onto Kendo's collarbone. Or try and smash her elbow down to Kendo's collarbone. Her actually being able to successfully get part of the hit on, as Kendo should try to step backwards. And the referee, he did at least go to notice Kendo's position. She was already pushed towards the edge of the ring. And whenever she would go to look away from her opponent, Hisashi told the girl that she does not need to worry. The ring, it is still qualified as a match. Ring outs aren't possible. What? Her going to actually dodge out of the way of Inko again. As Inko, after at least going to stop, just turned to the girl. Kireis don't believe in ring outs. Fight until you can't continue. Her going to bring her hand up and bulge into a fist, talking about how Even if they fight out of the ring, they are still fighting. It doesn't matter. She can fling her through buildings and they can still continue the match, as long as one of them can still walk. And Kendo, she realizes the shit she's been put in. She's fighting her boyfriend's mother, basically. If she wins, how is that gonna look to Izuku? If she loses, she might die. The situation's a little tense for her. And there actually is where she was going to bring her hands up. Her getting into a stance, as Inko should at least notice it a bit. It is different, but it does show a bit of similarities. Clearly, Izuku taught her that, since she picks up a hint of Kure in the style. Now, Inko does go rushing forwards, as Kendo does as well. Her going to draw her hand backwards. And Inko, she thinks that the girl's going to go for a right jab with a giant fist. And she actually does go to get ready. Her going to get ready to sidestep to the right and get out of the way. If she's able to do that, she can just smack her arm downwards, and the heavyweight will disorient her body. Get it off balance, and she can go for a straight strike to the face with her left fist. And as Inko, she does go to move in to perform this, we do actually have Kendo. The moment she went to go cock back her right hand and rush towards Inko, she actually did start to activate the loan. As inside of her body, her heart did start to beat faster and faster. And Inko, she didn't pick up on this until you did actually have where Kendo, with her left hand, she actually did have it backwards as to show she's going to put all of her strength into her right hand. The moment she felt the loan activate in her body, she went to go switch her entire focus to her left hand. As by the time Inko got directly in front of her, she threw her entire weight into her left arm. Her basically using her super strength from the loan and increasing the size of her fist. As the moment it did, Inko went to go bring up her hand. She noticed that her hand, or her left hand, clenched into a fist, so she went to go get on guard, just in case, as she didn't predict the loan. Now, Inko, she's actually struck in the arm. As the moment she's going to go sliding across the ring before going to dig her hands downwards into the gravel, or into the cement. Now, the moment she actually goes sliding across, everyone just take notice to that, as she was going to get back up before going to actually shrug off her arm and look down at it, as there's a large bruise. Interesting. So, you're not the young girl you used to be. Her going to rush back in, and Kendo, she does get ready. This time, people are actually able to get a bit more intrigued by the fight, as currently, the girl, she's fighting on par with Inko. And this is something that a lot of people, they are trying to keep focus on. As Deku, he does sit there next to his sister. And you do have where she does turn to him, asking him if he really thinks that she'll win. She will. I trained her myself. Besides, she's at 100%. Elder brother, I don't believe she will. Most likely she'll lose. She isn't worthy of joining our clan. That's not it. What do you mean? Yuya, to be a Kirei, what do you think that means? It means to crush the weak and be strong. Get to the top no matter what. The girls, hearing Deku's little sister say these words, as they do wonder, how much fucking trauma is packed into that teenager? Anyways. Sorry, I could not resist that. Anyways, with that being said, back to the ring. Or back with Deku. Deku, he does tell his little sister that it doesn't matter how strong you are or what you're made of. Being a Kure is something that everyone can be, can do. They need to embrace it. She embraces it a little too well. And if she were to get off that high horse, she could see it from their perspective. And see it from his as well. Yuya actually staring her brother as she just gives him a bit of a glare. Her thinking that he's speaking in lies. as Deku he does start to talk, telling her that being a Kirei is about being able to think with a clear mind and fight with ferocity. At the same time, being a Kirei is being able to embrace the devil while being able to know, well, an angel. Her confused by these words. The way Deku does put it, in simple words, you gotta know when to chill out and fight and at least dodge and, take a hit when you need to. But at the same time, you also gotta be a little bit more aggressive with your attacks. You can play it safe no matter what you want to do. However, you still gotta go for strikes. And sometimes you might have to risk it, even if it means taking a punch. Now, cut back to Into the Ring. Kendo and Inko are still duking it out. As Kendo, she has noticed a bit of things with her quirk. Her hands, whenever she does increase them, she feels like she has to try and focus more on it. Her hands, they do get fairly large, almost larger than her body, or larger than actually. However, she does feel like whenever she does increase the size of them, when they shrink back down, she has to do it again. They do stay big, about as big as her head, but still, they're not as bulky or weighted. In fact, she feels light as a feather like this. And whenever she actually does go to try and smash her large hand down on Inko, she did go to jump backwards. The moment she did, she actually did go to reach out and try to grab, Kendo by the hair. Kendo, whenever she did go to at least notice this, she shrunk down her left hand and went to go strike Inko with a fist the size of a basketball or bowling ball. And whenever this did happen, Inko, she actually took a heavy hit to the gut before actually getting sent flying out of the ring, her smashing into a stand before actually going to sit back up and look at the girl, as she's staying there with two large fists. And this is something that Inko, she does get annoyed by. This wasn't in the report about her quirk. However, her giving a bit of a toothy grin, as Hisashi Midoriya, I haven't said Midoriya in this what if, I believe, and saying that just did not fit. I said it by accident sometimes, but I'm trying to keep to Kirei. Anyways, Hisashi, he notices his wife. The moment he saw that look in her eye, he knew that she was going to do it. Her going to rush back in as people did see her activate the removal. And the moment she did so, she did disappear. As Kendo, she couldn't tell where Inko went. Her actually going to throw her leg up behind her, as she just thought that this was a tactic she'd use. Whenever she did go to throw her leg backwards behind her, Inko actually did catch her foot. As whenever she went to go try to twist Kendo's ankle, Kendo just sweeps her body upwards by jumping into the air and twisting the same way, being able to actually bring her right leg up and try to use the same tactic she used on her hand. She doesn't know if it'd be possible, but if it does work, it would be good. Kendo, whenever she tried to do this, it did not work. However, she was able to at least collide with Inko's shoulder blade, and at least part of her neck, being able to strike her right there in that area, as Inko, she actually go to somewhat wince that way. Letting go as Kendo, she is going to try and bring her hand outwards and clock Inko across the face. Now, everyone's watching the battle, and it actually is pretty impressive. The girl's at least 50% past the margin, so they're curious as to whether or not she will succeed, or Inko will just stop the match and saying, "Oh, okay, this girl's earned my respect. She can join us." And Deku, while he is witnessing that, he does see that his mother, she's actually going a bit too far. Him being able to tell as his mother is going to throw her hands out, she directly does smash Kendo right in the gut, bring her hands up, and going to actually clap right into her face as Kendo, she actually does go to step back, a bit more disoriented, as her vision got blurry. and it did actually mess with her for a second. This being where Inko should actually slip behind Kendo before throwing herself at her and going to put her into a headlock. As whenever she did so, she'd actually tighten up quite a bit before just throwing the two of them up into the air and going to try and smash Kendo down on her face. As whenever this did happen, Kendo was going to throw her hands down on the ring, enlarging them as much as she could before at least decreasing the size. Whenever she did decrease the size, she pushed off. And the two of them, they went back up into the air as Kendo, she actually did go to bring her hands up. Actually going to grab Inko by the side of her head and go to at least smash her hands into her ears over and over and over again. Inko actually going to wince in pain as she just try to hold on. If she can choke the girl out, then she'll win. And this match will be over. However, as that does actually happen, you do have with both of them, they're falling down to the ring. As Kendo just smashed down on Inko full force. And Inko, she's actually still holding on. Going to wrap her legs around Kendo's waist, as she just does at least try to pull back more. And as this actually is happening, you do have Kendo. She's struggling to breathe, and she can hardly catch her breath. Gasping for air as Inko, she has at least tried to ask the girl, is she going to give up? Is she going to stop? Will she tap out or will she die? And Kendo, she just at least try to focus. She needs to get this down. Just trying to think. The moment she's going to bring one of her hands away from her, throat, trying to stop Inko, Inko was disappointed. For a minute, she thought about at least stopping the match. The girl, she would have died with honor, and that's something that she could have respected. However, Kendo, she is just going to throw her hand out forwards into a fist motion, and with full force, she does enlarge her hand. Going to throw it backwards as she has decreased the size. And Inko, she is immediately met with a shot and jab to the ribs. Before Kendo, she just start to do this with her left hand and right hand, jabbing Inko as hard as she can in both sides of her rib cage. And Inko, after at least feeling something crack and feel it on the other side as well, she does just start to loosen her grip a bit. As whenever Kendo does feel this, she actually is starting to have her vision go fuzzy. And she's on the verge of passing out before Inko just finally let go, and Kendo, after at least going to jump onto her feet, she does get a breath of fresh air. Throwing herself forwards and onto the ring, before going to spin around and actually meet Inko with a kick. Being able to uppercut, if you do want to put it that way, Inko with her foot, being able to get her to basically go up into the air, as Kendo, she's going to cock back her hands. Throwing both of them out forwards before enlarging them to the maximum and smashing Inko with both of them. And Inko, after at least going from looking up to being sandwiched by these large obstacles, Kendo, she's going to bring her hands back. And Inko, she actually did go to look down, as she does have a Kirei smile, a bloody face, and a busted lip. Before Inko, she would just smile. And as she is going to step forwards, Kendo, she is going to get ready. Right now, she doesn't feel too well either. And Inko, after at least walking up to the girl and going to pull back her hand, her removal does deactivate. Smashing out forwards on a Kendo, as she just goes slumping down to the left. And a lot of people, they are impressed. As Kendo, after at least hearing winner, she's going to fall backwards, since that was exhausting. Now, as both the two are lying on the ground, Inko, she did just say a few things. Well, the girl, she was actually this very strategic and or at least forwards in fighting. She does at least lack a few things. However, she was able to counter her own weaknesses. And Kendo, she does ask exactly what she means, as Inko does explain to her. Her weakness is that she tries to have a clever mind. She suffers from the idea that she can just run and gun-ho and not think during a fight. However, she saw the hesitation in one of her movements, and she used those opportunities to attack. She's trying to plan out her next move while going on impulse for one, and that is exactly a problem. She needs to try to think of her next step after her fifth one. Basically, stay 7 steps ahead of your opponent and try to predict what they'll do just based on their movements. Her going into great detail about this. And Kendo, after they're both carried away on stretchers, Josue's trying to think about what, well, her boyfriend's mother just said. And to everyone sitting in the ring, you do actually have Deku, who, while people are chanting on this newfound Kirei, they actually are a bit annoyed, or someone at least is. As Yuya Midoriya, or Yuya Kure, my bad, she does just go to give a glare to the girl, and look over towards the other ones, especially towards the one she is about to fight. The pink one, who seems way too relaxed. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. Catch you guys in the next part.